What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great Monday. It was a very eventful weekend this weekend. Two big games. Obviously, with the MLS going on, a lot of movements. But the other Galaxy ended up getting a big win at home. Dejan Jovelic scored the game winner. It was exciting. If you saw the celebration, man, it was insane. It was bananas. We're gonna talk all about that. So here to join me once again, we got Alex Ruiz. Alex, how you doing?
Hey everybody, how you doing, Gio? I'm good.
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Excited to talk some Galaxy. It was an an eventful weekend, outside of soccer and everything like that. But what about you? Are you still doing some IKEA shopping, or is that all done?
Actually, I did go to IKEA this weekend. I want to go buy another. It's for the living room, so I can put my laptop in and watch TV. NBA playoffs are going on, so
They
comes in handy
are.
right
They
now. Just
are.
watched the Nets get swept by the Celtics, so
Oh,
that
they
was pretty
did. They,
fun to
did
watch.
they get swept? I
Yeah,
saw
they got
that.
swept by the Celtics, so that was pretty funny. So yeah, I actually did go IKEA shopping. Thanks for reminding me. I totally forgot about that.
I could always count on you to do something like that.
Yeah.
You are. I would say you are a lot more mature, uh, in a great way, for your age, which is good. And IKEA shopping is definitely a mature thing to do.
I mean,
Alex,
yeah.
I
I
didn't know.
mean,
I
I,
didn't
I
know if you
found
did that.
something to watch the playoffs with while I type, do homework and stuff, so it came in handy. So
Yeah. So who are you rooting for? Quickly, who are you rooting for in the playoffs?
honestly, I really don't have like a team I'm rooting for. It's like, players that like I want to do well. Like Jose Alvarado has been like a beast for the
Oh,
Pelicans.
GTA.
Yeah. I want Ja Moran and the Grizzlies to do good as well. I love Ja. But aside from them, there's nobody else that really comes to mind that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm rooting for this team or these guys. Just a couple players here and there. Lakers or Clippers didn't even like make the playoffs, which is
Yeah.
pretty sad for LA sports. But it's gonna be it's interesting because I don't think right now there's a team that like looks you can say definitively is gonna like win it all. So I think that's the interesting part about this year's NBA playoffs.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's an interesting month, right? April, May, because you got obviously you got the MLS going on, but you got towards the end of the NBA season. So I know a lot of people are going to be tuning into that and watching this. But yeah, yeah, I'm watching that. I'm watching a lot of different things. To me, I'm gonna be honest, it was great to see Jovic get that game winning goal, because it was against a tough opponent. We've been talking about it, that hey man, this man should be getting more minutes. And I love how he came out and said afterwards. I'm gonna just paraphrase, a word for word. Essentially, he said that he deserves more than minutes, more than five, something along the lines like that. What were your thoughts on that, on the goal? I know we'll get right into it, but what were your thoughts on the whole experience with Dejan?
I mean, it was absolutely spectacular. I mean, the Galaxy that second half against Nashville were just pushing and pushing Nashville to the brink of basically just trying to just wear out that team defensively. I think Nashville, if you look at their heat map, they barely have look like their whole team heat map. They barely pass the Galaxy's half of the pitch if you look at it, which is absolutely crazy. Nashville just were defensive the whole time. I mean, you saw Vanny try to put everything up front, brought in Douglas Costa, brought in Jovelic as well, and really tried to get Araujo and Edwards to push up forward more and more. So you could feel something was going to come. You didn't know who was going to score it, but something was going to come because usually when the team is, playing with a low block and there's one team just attacking you front after front, time after time, eventually you're going to break. And that happens so many times with football. And this time it happened to Dejan Jovelic, which is absolutely crazy. I mean, the goal was pretty great. The celebration was even better. I mean, that's arguably already in celebration of the year, and we're not even like halfway through the season. I think right now that has to be the contender. There's no other celebration in MLS that comes close to just doing chin ups at LA Riot Squad, going up there. So that was absolutely spectacular and fun. But Jovelic made it clear he wants minutes, both in the interview on Spectrum right after the game, and then also right after the media call, he was like, "Look, I want to play more minutes. It's frustrating. I think before this game, he'd only played a total of 41 minutes off the bench all season long, and that's really frustrating considering the Galaxy bought this guy to kind of be that second striker. You don't spend $5 million for a backup, and I think Vanny's just had troubles trying to integrate him. But this game against Nashville can be a blueprint on how you want to integrate him as well because Jovic really wasn't playing up centrally for the entire time he was there. Usually playing, going on that left side, drifting a little bit out wide, leaving Chicharito as the main guy up front. So I think this is a good blueprint for what Greg Vanny, wants to do to give Jovelic more minutes and also just give this Galaxy attack a little bit more of that power, I would say, because Jovelic right now scares me a lot more than Kevin Cabral does, with no disrespect at all, but that's just my opinion.
You're like more of a threat, right? Like
Yeah, he seems
he's
more
more.
of a threat because Jovic is a threat in the air as well. I don't think Cabral has. I haven't, from what I can think of right now, off the top of my head, I don't remember Kevin Cabral with a header in the box. I don't think any Galaxy fan can visualize that right now because I can't. And I've watched this team like really closely for the last 2 years. So I think Jovic brings a lot more to the table than Cabral when it comes to output in the final third. But that's going to be it. It's going to be Greg Vanney. Do you want to keep the ball rolling with Jovic, or do you want to keep giving Cabral these kind of chances to redeem himself and put himself back into the starting lineup?
Yeah, to me, I think it's very clear at this point. I think Cabral has had more than enough time to show what he can showcase. Unfortunately, he did have a couple opportunities in this game to at least to tie, or I mean to put them on the board, but whether the keeper deflected it or whatever. And I think you could also see a little bit of whether it's just Chicharito showing his motion, but you could tell Chicharito's a bit frustrated with Cabral with some of the things that he was doing on the field. So it's a very interesting to see. I think when a player like Jovelic goes out, we got to show the goal. We got to start out hot. The goal was amazing. The celebration, everything.
Araujo, 86th minute. This bounces down in front. Williams. Score! Dejan Jovelic! And I told you this place would erupt. 1-0 Galaxy!
I mean, if you just see that emotion, I've never seen someone get carried up there. I haven't been covering the team as long as some of the people, but I think that's the first time I've ever seen that. That's potentially the first time it's ever happened. People in the comments can let me know, but that celebration, I tweeted this out. It was special. You could tell how much it meant to Joe Village and how much he really cares about this team and wants to provide for the teams and for the fans. And I think it was just, dude, when you see that type of celebration, when you see how he embraces the fans, when you see all that emotion and that excitement and I would say a legendary celebration because I've like I said that's definitely one of the more memorable ones. From a Galaxy perspective, obviously of the goal and everything hopping in there like that. So I think this is a celebration I think people are going to remember for for a long time because of the way it happened, and this could potentially spring forward him maybe starting next week or he definitely has to get more minutes. To me, Cabral has already showed what he could do at this point. And I think it's time to kind of give Joveljic those minutes because he essentially called Greg Van out with wanting to get those minutes publicly, and that's one way to do it to get more minutes when you score the game winning goal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think he's been very adamant about that, really, because he's 22 years old, right? He's pretty young. He wants to get some playing time under his belt, and he's always so excited to play with Chicharito. He always looks just so animated next to him. He looks
He does.
ready to win with him, and I mean, Cabral, his body language doesn't really tell you much. With Jovic, you can tell he's got that fighter in him. What's that phrase? He's got that dog in him, right? That's what I see when I look at Dejan Jovelic playing out there. I mean, all the players in the Galaxy locker room really talk about his work rate. I mean, Derek Williams after the game even said to quote, he's like, "Yeah, Decky works really hard to be in positions to succeed and to want to play games more." And I think that's really true because I always see this kid, this he's young, he's great at chess, and I think he's going to be a really good footballer with the LA Galaxy in the future. While right now it may not be his time, and he said it in the press call. He was like, "Look, I know I'm playing back up to the best striker in MLS. I know my time will come, but I want to get more minutes." And I'm telling you, Greg Vanney, the blueprint to play Jovic and Chicharito is in this game right here. You don't need to play Jovic exactly next to Chicharito. Jovic was drifting out wide to the left during this game. So, like I'm saying again, because I want to get my point across, Greg Vanney, your blueprint to play these two up front was this past Saturday. So all I'm gonna say, yeah,
There you
15
go,
minutes
Greg
of game film
Randy.
to analyze, do the tactical work, all you need to do. but you have a blueprint right here and right now on how these two can play, because the only reason, and you said this, only reason these two aren't playing together is because they have similar styles. And wouldn't you know it, the two of them out there get a result against a tough team who likes to play defensively. Would have helped if you would have done that last week against Chicago, who played similarly to Nashville. So I'm just saying the Galaxy have their blueprint when they want to win against teams that will play a low block, that will be defensively oriented. It's right here in this game.
Yeah, no, you make a great point, and we'll see if Greg Vanny is paying attention. I don't know how frequently he listens to or watches this, but yeah, look, you make a great point because there is a way to play on both. I don't understand why they haven't been played both, and you definitely can start both of these. There's definitely a way to do this. But I want to go back to the quote that Jovic said after the game. He said, "I proved that I need more and more minutes." And here's the video. I think you go on and play it.
Patient with your playing minutes all season long. You've been putting in the work to get the opportunity that you did tonight and to capitalize. What does that mean to you?
To be honest, it's always nice to be on the field more than 5 minutes. I know that on my position is the best striker in this league, and that I don't have many minutes alongside him, but I'm patient and I got my chance, and I proved that I need to play more minutes.
You proved that patient pays off. Congratulations, Dejan. Thank you so much.
I like I like how he was just I just need to play more minutes.
Yeah, just casually slip that in there,
Yeah,
right
because
at the end.
it's to me it's like when I look at Dejan, I get that Cabral, he's a DP and stuff, but I think now it's a point in time. Now when the player that's been working his butt off on the bench, he comes out, respectfully. I mean, I don't know how the Galaxy do things, but I don't think that he's stepping out of line here in any way. I think he's put in the work and stuff. And I think that is the right way to do it. If he would have said I'm better than this player or this or that, then I think that would have been a little bit different. But I don't mind Dejan doing that and calling out Greg Van and letting him know, hey, because that to me is a player's hungry. That to me is a player that shows he wants to win, that he's ready. We haven't heard that from Cabral. We haven't heard similar type of tone from Cabral. Granted, yes, he speaks French and all these different things, but demeanor, posture, everything means so many things there. But yeah. To me, I'm very excited to see what the future next game looks like with the Cabral. With Jovelic and Chicharito matchup pairing. Excuse me. Jeffrey Sosa in the comments, he said in a previous podcast, but I said Cabral was not going to cut it, and it's not like he's a bad player. He's just not a DP. Either negotiate a lower contract or ship him out at this point. I don't know if you can do the last part, the contract, or shipping him out.
You can buy down contracts. I know you can do that. Seattle did that.
Yeah, but I don't know you're going to do that right now. I think right now it's more the playing, the tactically and all the other stuff you worry at the end of the season. But I think to me right now you worry about putting Jovelic and Chicharito in together and making that work. And then the contract stuff, I think that's at the end of the season and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to do that kind of stuff like right in the middle of the year. That just isn't a good message. But I mean, Kevin Cabral just really hasn't, done anything to, I guess, really captivate any Galaxy fans in an MLS game. Sure, he scored midweek against San Diego, but if we're being honest, it was a kind of a lucky goal. You mentioned it. Kevin Cabral just really seems really shy, and not to say I don't want to bash on him or anything, but he just seems like he isn't the type of player for these big time moments, and I haven't seen that in his time with the Galaxy so far. He kind of seems to shy away from it. His decision making just really isn't there and up to par with elite players in this league. I mean, he's got the skills, the flair to kind of dominate in ways, but he just can't seem to do it with the rest of the 10 players out on the pitch. And I mean, you mentioned we don't really hear anything from Cabral. He doesn't really talk to the media. I mean, Grancier and Sega have both talked to the media. I mean, Sega's English is really good. Grancier, I mean, I appreciate him talking to us after the Portland game, if I'm correct. But we haven't heard anything from Cabral, and I understand, sometimes, when everybody's after you, kind of don't really want to put yourself out there. But at the same time, you got to hold yourself to some sort of accountability and, be able to explain what's going on or give your side of you're not performing. And again, I don't want to bash on Cabral here, but when you're DP, there's expectations, and those expectations aren't going to go away. They're always going to get bigger every single year. Every single designated player in this league has expectations to perform at the highest level. And if they don't, then they don't, and they're out of here quickly. So if I'm Kevin Cabral, I'm worried for my future at the Galaxy. While it is early in the year, I think that, we're almost going to reach the halfway point of the season. And that's when everybody's going to start picking up steam, talking more about you. And it's going to be a point where you're going to become a bench warmer, and it's going to be even harder to fight yourself back into that starting 11.
Yeah, I think it's just on that. I think to me, just to kind of make it more simple, it's Cabral has given. I think at this point, Cabral has been given enough time to show what he could do. Unfortunately, there's a competition that's coming from the bench, and there's players that are that are producing special moments for the LA Galaxy, right? If it was like neck and neck, but we've seen Jovelic do it last season. We're seeing similar things from Jovelic this season. You could only imagine if he plays more minutes, he's gonna. I think Jovelic could be the second. I've been saying this. I think Jovelic can be that 10-goal guy, the second player outside of Chicharito to get 10 goals this season. Even though he's played a limited amount of minutes, I think he still can get 10, close to 10 goals with the remaining games of the season because of how he moves and what he's able to do. He's actually a goal scorer. But on the Kevin Cabral side, it's like by any means I don't think he's done. I think he just needs more time, and unfortunately, the Galaxy don't have that time to give him. And especially with expectations, a DP, and all these different things, there's only so much of a window of time. But I don't look. The Galaxy are committed to it was like a 5-year contract, right? We're going into like year 2 of 5, so there's 3 more years potentially of that you'll see of Kevin Cabral, unless it really goes downhill from here. Then that's what you don't hope. You don't hope that doesn't happen with Kevin Cabral. You just hope, this either motivates some more, because I know different players are different personalities, and he seems more of a quiet type personality. But there comes a point when you're at high expectations, you get paid a lot of money in this league. You have to be able to turn in those results, or if not, then you're just going to be a flop. And then, unfortunately, fans, coaching, they're going to have to move on from you and figure that out because there's 3 more years left for Kevin Cabral, and we'll see what happens. Because as right now, it's looking a little complicated, but by no means I don't think the Galaxy should or will give up on him during the season. I just think he needs to find that motivation. To me, is my biggest critique on Kevin Cabral has been his passing. His passing has not been DP caliber level. It just hasn't been the type of passing you expect from a DP, the type of passing you expect from a quality player is getting paid a lot of money. And if he's able to clean up those things in his decision making, then you start talking about Kevin Cabral and all these things. But I just feel like that's easier said than done at this point, and we'll have to see what happens. But let's talk about let's talk about Derek Williams. He made team of the week. Talk to me about Derek Williams and what you think about him in this game.
I mean, Derek Williams was really good, but if I'm being honest, I think Sega Coulibaly deserved more of a spot in the team of the week than Derek Williams. I mean, they both did absolutely well in this game against Nashville. And to be honest, to put context to it, they really didn't have to do much. But the fact that they were able to limit Nashville to basically, no shots on goal was pretty incredible. And while I'm pretty sure Williams made, team of the week because of that assist to Jovelic. But the Galaxy, their center backs are really finding a groove. Sega Coulibaly's looked really comfortable on the ball when, last year he seemed really indecisive of what to do. It seemed like he always just tried to punt the ball, just to get it away. But this year, I think he's doing really good when it comes to advancing the ball forward. Same with Derek Williams as well. I think in the first half, he was the one that advanced the ball forward, won a free kick in a dangerous area. So I like what the Galaxy center backs are doing. They're really helping out the build-up play and helping play out of the back. And I think, you have Williams, who's a really air dominant player, very big, physical, somebody who's not scared to, put a tackle or make a lunge tackle here and there. And then you have Coulibaly, a player who, I think can do a lot better going forward, a player who can progress the ball, a player who I think also has a physicality to, shield the ball well, take it out for a corner. So I think the Galaxy have really got something going with Sega and Williams. And I think Greg Vanney's just over the moon seeing that his center back pairings, the ones that he wanted to bring into this club, are working and doing exactly what he wanted them to do when he brought them in, which is defend well, be tough, be physical, and make it hard for the opponent to, get a shot on goal. And I think Galaxy fans should be excited because we've seen Edwards do well, we've seen Koulibaly and Williams do well, and I think we're going to see Julian Araujo get his form back and become, one of the best fullbacks in MLS again.
Yeah. No, I mean, if the Galaxy are able to get the defense right, Derek Williams, Sega Kobai, if they're able to get that and they're able to stay healthy, and because that's been the biggest, one of the biggest things for the other Galaxy this season, last season. So with Derek Williams, getting this nod, and Joe Araujo starts to get his form back. To me, I really see this LA Galaxy, if they're able to lock down, then you talk about the Galaxy going a lot deeper this season. But we'll have to see how that looks. But hey, look, you get a tough win at home with the tough defensive team like Nashville, and you come out on top, you get the big win, and you do a solid job on the defensive end, and on top of that, you also get Jonathan Bond also gets he also gets another clean sheet. So I think that is very exciting. You'll have that, and you get a 1-0 win. Hey, sometimes you have to get a 1-0 win. So we'll have to see. Jose says, do you see Jovelic playing along with Chicharito? Absolutely. I've been saying this for a long time. I really, really do. I want to see that for 90 minutes. I would love to see that for 90 minutes. Andy in the chat says, wow, Alex, nice shirt. Wish I had one. Antonio Banderas, he says he'd like one as well. He said same. He said I paid $20 for one. Guys, he said not 30, full relax. Okay. I look, guys, I am gonna make these shirts available. I'll definitely make these available for purchase. Give me some time because I know a lot of people have been asking. When I say a lot, maybe like 3 or 4. But that's a lot for me. But yeah, I'll make these t-shirts available, and I'm not gonna try to charge you 30, $40 for a shirt. I like for because I have been getting people asking me about the shirts, so I will definitely make them available for purchase, and that way I can ship them out to you guys, hook you guys with like a sticker or something like that. Because honestly, I just wanted to make these shirts for the team and stuff. Now a lot of people are like, hey, they're asking it. So I'm gonna make these available. I'm gonna put them up on Instagram. Give me like a day or so. I've been just doing with I've been busy. I've been moving around a lot, but I'll make these available for those people that have been asking. So I apologize I haven't been made them available. That's my little tangent, but I'm gonna make it happen this week.
I used to be a reseller on eBay, so that kind of part of me came back. I was like, should I I have another shirt. Should I flip it for like 60 something, triple the
I don't know
amount
how
of
much
asking for?
value LA soccer have.
I don't
Hey,
know, just to test the waters.
well,
I mean, I'll test the
yeah,
market for you.
if
I'll
any,
test the market for you, Gio.
well, you can test the market, and we'll see what the reseller value goes up. But yeah, no, if you guys support, keep an eye out on the Instagram. But yeah, I'll put it up there. And I'll definitely make it available. I've been having a lot of things going on. But yeah, no, I definitely want to talk about that. But yeah, let's talk about how you see the Galaxy right now, right? They won a tough game with the Open Cup. They won the national game. The schedule's gonna keep being busy. How you feeling after this week, Alex?
Yeah, you mentioned the schedule's going to be really hard for the Galaxy. I mean, the Western Conference is no joke, and that's a beautiful thing about MLS. Yes, GM Alex always thinking a step ahead. But yeah, the beautiful thing about MLS is that every team is able to win on any given day. I mean, we saw that when San Jose came back to beat Seattle. You saw Miami beat Atlanta, right? So there's going to be no days off for this Galaxy team when it comes to the MLS schedule, and they're going to keep taking the U.S. Open Cup really seriously. Now, I think the good thing about this season so far, and the one thing I really, I guess, hinged on, and I'm starting to see this team growing, is their consistency. You're kind of seeing what the Galaxy is made of. They're a possession-based team. They're getting better game after game defending. You're having players like Costa, Jovelic, Efrain Alvarez at times, Victor Vasquez even at times as well, just coming off the bench and being able to influence the game in positive ways. So this team is definitely a dangerous one. And while I know they're not at the top of the standings, they're still a team that's going to be a threat to every club in Major League Soccer, and they're arguably one of the best teams in the Western Conference. You can make that case if you want, but I'm starting to see a consistency with this team. They're starting to become better defensively oriented. they're starting to, understand how they want to play football. I think, just having a bit of the rust of the first couple of games kind of gone, they're starting to understand each other a lot better. And I think there's some players who really haven't even, hit their stride yet. Julian Araujo, Ravelison, Efrain Alvarez, Cabral, the obviously one who hasn't, hit their stride and really, excelled so far in this early season. But, it's a long year. You're going to have, the summer months, the last couple of weeks before the playoffs start to really build and really, get better. But right now, this Galaxy team's consistent at defending and they're consistent at how they want to play football. It's possession based and they're going to get Chicharito in the right spots. And they have plenty of people to put if plans aren't working well. And you saw that come to fruition this past weekend.
Yeah, look, 8 games in, 16 points, sitting in third place. I mean, they sit 3 points behind first place was LAFC, a point behind us, Austin FC's, who's Andy's team for whatever reason. And you also got, they're going to face RSL next week. They're on the road. They're going to RSL next week. So, yeah, I mean, so far you can't complain too much. They're literally a point away from being in that second place. But as long as they keep getting these positive results, because you know what LAFC has, Austin FC, I think it's they're playing well, but I want to see how they do for a whole season.
I think they're for real. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, I want to see because we thought last season we saw how for real the Galaxy were at the beginning of the season, but it's also how you finish the year with the MLS. So I want to see how that turns out. But I think as long as UCL, the other team across town, is getting those 3 points, you got to continue week in and week out and put in the work because it does not get easier with all that and just with all these, now you're gonna have eventually pretty soon you're gonna have the international call-ups and all these different things with this interesting year that we have because it's also a World Cup year. So there's gonna be a lot of different interesting things this summer, but I'm excited to see how it progresses because after May, then after May, because this next month, and we still got there's a lot of games that the LA Galaxy are gonna have. They're just be back to back because it's RSL, and then it's Austin versus, and then they go to, then Austin comes in. No, they go to Austin. So two back to back.
They go to Austin and then they head to Minnesota afterwards. And Minnesota's the top team right now.
Well, also the Cal Strikers as well as that.
Yeah, you don't want to undermine the opponent because that can be a very dangerous game. But yeah, like you said, it's going to be a really tough stretch for the Galaxy, and I'm glad, like I mentioned earlier, they found that little consistency in them. You know what they are? They can play well defensively. They're possession based, and they have people who can make impacts off the bench. And I think a lot of teams in MLS struggle to kind of find their identity for a lot of the year, and that's what cost them from making the playoffs. You saw that with a couple of those teams last year. I mean, the Galaxy and LAFC both really struggled to find an identity, and that's what cost them the playoffs. And I think the Galaxy have found that identity of who they want to be, who they can be, and it's attainable. And I think that's going to help them, get into a playoff spot. And it's going to help them get through these stretches where you can have tough games and tough conditions. And I think, they're going to have a pretty successful season when it comes to rebounding from last year.
Yeah, and look, just to go back to the first point we started talking about Jovelic. I think this could potentially be one of the most memorable moments in the season where this could, take them off to another path with, Jovelic up top with Chicharito or whatever the case may be. But I think that's a special moment when you have such a player, like such an eager player that wants something so bad, and you have everybody is fighting for that position. So I think that's going to be a very, very memorable moment, and we'll have to see how it plays out. But I think anytime you have two goal scorers up top and could provide those necessities for you and the emotion and everything like that. I didn't get a chance. I was not at the game, but just seeing it and just catching the replay, to me, it was a very electrifying moment, and I just want to see more of that moving forward with the LA Galaxy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think this is their back-to-back sellout. So the atmosphere at Dignity Health Sports Park, compared to last year, it is way better. And I think last year they had an off year. They had almost less than 3,000 people than the year prior going to Galaxy games, and they're getting people back into the stadiums, and that's great. They're having a great atmosphere there again, and I think the players really appreciate that. I think a lot of them just posted how this is another sellout for the Galaxy at Dignity Health Sports Park, so they were ecstatic about that. And I think there's a lot of positives for the Galaxy moving forward. And while they're not really, like I mentioned, they're not a first place team in the West, nor are they the first place team in the Supporter Shield race, but they're consistent at what they're doing so far. And I think Greg Vanney should be more than satisfied with how the season's going so far, even though there's, questions about Cabral, the calls for Jovelic to start are going to get louder every minute. And I think also, too, you're going to really start asking for more from Douglas Costa at some point. But right now, the Galaxy and Vanney should be satisfied with what they got. And I think, this was a great way, to end the month of April. Just one more game on the road against RSL, and I think they'll have a really successful month. I don't think they've lost a game this month either. So,
that's very important.
Yeah, that's very important. And especially considering you're going to have, a lot of games crammed in, MLS Dog Days, Leagues Cup. You got to make sure the players are healthy, they're fit. And right now, when the schedule's, kind to you, take full advantage of it. And the Galaxy certainly are.
Let's quickly, because we have a little bit of time. Let's talk about let's talk about Douglas Costa, because he came in the second half. He didn't start this game, but they haven't necessarily missed him as a starter. But it's still good that he's able to come in as a sub. And he almost had that set piece. I don't know if you saw that set piece that just went right around the goalkeeper. Obviously, he's not a necessity right now for the full 90 minutes, but he's definitely a quality player. He's definitely a player that's a real threat up top. But unfortunately, right now, he's been limited, but he's been able to play. I think if you could have a player that's still giving you some minutes, quality minutes, I think that's very important. But I think very soon we're going to want to see really full Douglas Costa to start to hopefully to finish. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you gave him the number 10 number, and that's an important number in any, soccer team. The number 10 is the most coveted number, usually your most important player. And, we're still kind of seeing Douglas Costa working back into full fitness. Vanney wants him to play at least 70 minutes, I'm pretty sure. I don't think Vanney's going to demand him to play 90 as much, but I think you really want to see Douglas Costa find his stride, because he's a talented player. He's got, the flair. He's got the great talent to be one of the best in MLS. Just, you got to be able to find a way to work him in. And, are you going to want him to play a little bit more inside? Because that's what he did against Nashville for the last couple of minutes. You played him a little bit more inside and, try to get him to be creative, move around, pin passes here and there, try to distribute the ball. Or do you want to keep him playing out wide and try to use his speed, his dribbling, his skills to kind of get past defenders and be that support guy for whoever's, the striker or the other, midfielder going up inside the box. So that's another question for Greg Vanney. How are you going to utilize Douglas Costa? I think I like Costa a little bit more in the middle. I think he can really be like that out and out number 10, right? That central attacking midfielder that, every MLS team wants. I think Douglas Costa can play that role. It's just going to be, are you going to want to sacrifice his creative playmaking, which is really excellent, for, losing a bit of his pace on the wings and, that one-on-one ability, he's been known for in world football about. So it's a bit of here and there for Greg Vanney. Do you want to do this? You got to make the pros and cons list out on the whiteboard, him and the coaching staff. But I think Douglas Costa is another piece that's yet to be really unlocked. And I think if it is unlocked, this Galaxy team goes up another gear.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, yeah, we see the quality. We just want to see more minutes, more full 90 minutes. So big win, big win for Jovelic. I expect to see a lot of Jovelic moving forward. I don't know. I don't see how you don't see him potentially start an MLS game, not an US Open Cup game. Quick comment from Andy says, feels like this version of Costa is what people expected at this point. Could be in line for a nice second half of the season, though. Scary thought. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. If he's able to be there healthy and everything like that, and you got Jovelic and everybody in motion, that's going to be very exciting. But that's going to wrap things up for this segment of the LA Galaxy. Alex, I want to thank you once again for always hopping on. Guys, definitely follow Alex on Twitter. It's right there at AlexRuiz15. He's always talking about the Galaxy and giving you guys up-to-date stuff, his thoughts, comments, and everything. So, Alex, thank you again for hopping on, and we'll be right back. And we are back here talking LAFC. We're going to talk big win on the road against FC Cincinnati, the first time they've gone to Cincinnati, Ohio. They come from behind the second time. I think that's the second or third. He's been doing that. Got a little squeaking noise over here. But yeah, here to help me join, talk everything. Here we got JP Marcus. JP, how you doing?
What's up, man? I'm good. Good weekend. Good win. Just happy to talk about it.
Yeah, you did you bring your rubber ducky or what? I'm hearing a lot of squeaking over there.
I'm just moving my computer and it's squeaking. I don't know the bottom of it, but
it's all good. I'm just teasing. But yeah, no, man, big win, big. I know you had to be excited. LAFC at the top, but what'd you do? What'd you do outside of LAFC? What'd you do this weekend?
I went out to dinner on Friday. It was nice. Then went to like this arcade bar, in the Arts District. And then on Saturday I worked. So nothing there.
Arcade bar? What arcade bar?
I think it's like 882.
Okay.
Yeah, it's by Little Tokyo in the Arts District. You get the drinks at the bar, and then they have like cool retro arcade games that you could play. So that was fun.
I always like a good arcade bar. I haven't been to one. There used to be one next to the Dodger Stadium. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if there was like this bar right next to like the Super 8 or something like that. But down on that road, there used to be like a little. So before like some of the Dodger games, a couple years ago, I would go there. But unfortunately, I haven't been to one. I remember when I was in San Diego, there was one, and then in Phoenix, I've been to a couple ones, but I haven't been there. You're gonna have to let me know next time I go up there. There we go. Andy's a part of the JP fan club. I like that. He says Jill only knows about Santa Monica. There ain't no arcade bars out in Santa Monica. Andy's a big fan of the Santa Monica parking lots for whatever reason. I don't know. You're gonna have to ask him about that, but I don't know. The biggest fan. But yeah, he knows all about the parking lots out there. But yeah, no, JP, it's good. It's good to go around the city and do all the different things. Where'd you go to dinner?
Manuela's. It's in the Arts District. It's pretty nice. The cocktails were good, so can't complain about my Friday night.
Dang, look at you, JP, doing things big, man. Doing big things. They said, "Hola, hi, JP." They said, "Are you from?" Yeah, I'm from West Covina. I'm assuming you know where that's at, but yeah, I'm from West Covina. But yeah, LA. Support all the LA teams and stuff. But yeah, let's talk about this big weekend. We've seen the LAFC team, come from behind. It was a tough game for them. It wasn't a really easy game. What were your overall thoughts?
It wasn't pretty, but they came back. I think they gave the goal away. Bad pass to Ilie, who didn't want to foul, and it leads into the goal. But Dolo subs always, seem to come in and get the job done. We saw it last week with Kansas City, and now we see it again in Cincinnati. But yeah, I mean the team finds a way to win, and Dolo in the press conference was self-analytical, or he knows that the team didn't play well, but good teams find a way to win, and that's ultimately what's important. And they still on top of the Supporters Shield and the West standings.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the biggest thing, because when they went down, it was right before half. Maxime Crepeau, gave that. I think he tried to force it to Ilya Sanchez, and unfortunately, Cincinnati stole the ball, and they stole the ball right there and ended up scoring. I think that's the first mistake you could actually blame on Maxime Crepeau, because you don't really see that from him. I know if he could, he probably wouldn't commit the same mistake twice, but it's always tough when you get scored right before half, especially in a game like this. So I was very interested to see how LAFC was going to bounce back from this, what they were going to do, and they responded pretty well, even though it was not their best game. But you're right, they did get the win, and that's the most important thing. I do want to talk about Kellen Acosta, because he got the first goal on I know it ricocheted, but let's watch the goal and then we'll talk about it.
Carlos Vela. Deep outswinging ball. Ibiaga's there, back sideways. Rio thought about the overhead. Now it's fired into the back of the net. LAFC have tied the game. Kellen Acosta with a rocket.
All right, JP. When you see that rocket of a goal, you know, Kel Acosta, is this? I believe that's his first goal with LAFC.
Yes.
What were your thoughts when you saw that goal go in?
They were knocking on the door, all game. They had their chances, and finally, Kellen took the chance and shot it on goal. Sometimes you just need to put your shot towards the goal, and it'll go in with a ricochet or whatever the case may be. But you just got to shoot. I think that's something that the team is starting to do a bit more. They're starting to shoot a bit more, so that's good. Kellen finally opens up with his first goal for the black and gold. Somebody who's been playing well, but hasn't been able to get on the stat sheet to highlight his good performances. But this is only a confidence boost for him and the whole team. The team now has 12 different scorers. It's not all relying on Carlos Vela, maybe like years past, or on a certain player or Chicho, how it was at the end of last season. The team can find ways to score with different players and different opportunities. So that's always great. That always builds confidence and morale for everybody in the team.
Yeah, he's one player that so far this season been so close to scoring one of those bangers, and he finally got one, even though it did ricochet. But we know he's a quality type of player, and he can produce these type of special moments, and you can see the excitement there, just being able to score a rocket like that. It goes, and that's what they needed too, especially being down, 1-0. They needed something from someone. And it was good to see Kellen Acosta, get his first goal for LAFC. First goal for him. I know it's gonna be a memorable one, but also to see that he can also be that threat up top, because we know his passing is already there. But if he's able, let's say he gets 5 goals this season or something like that. I don't know. That's gonna be with all the star power they have up top. That's gonna be like the cherry on top. If Kellen Acosta, Mamadou Fall, Jesus Murillo is gonna go. Like, I don't. There's been a lot of LAFC, almost a whole roster. I want to say
Yeah.
almost has had a goal.
It's 12
12.
different
Okay,
players.
look,
Yeah.
that's a whole roster. Then that's more than a whole roster in the sub right there. That to me is insane. That 12 different LAFC players have scored a goal this season. When that is happening, you have a very well stacked team and a very well even balanced team, that 12 different players are able to score and give you that type of production.
Yeah, I mean, it makes the job easier for Dolo. Anybody who he puts in on the bench or starts is going to respond, is going to be a threat to put goals back in the net. And that was a problem that we saw last season. Bob oh, was puzzled as well of what else could he have done last season to make these guys score. And sometimes the chances were there. They would dominate games, but nobody would be able to put in the back of the net. And now 12 different players are lifting their hands up and saying, give it to me, I'll put in the back of the net. So that's only great for Dolo, makes the job easier for him and the players, because now everyone can say, oh, I can score, and maybe they're not used to it, so that's also a confidence builder.
Yeah, and it's also too, when you play a tough game like this, you get to see, sometimes, like, for whatever reason, if Vela is not going to get you that goal or can't get you that goal, or Chicho can't get you that goal, someone else is going to be able to step up for this game. And another player that that's been having the motion, at least this past week, was Danny Masevsky. I think he had 2 goals in the U.S. Open Cup against Orange County at home, and he scores another one. he came in sub for Chicho, comes in and scores a game-winning goal. I think that's a very, very special thing to have, that you can have all these different types of goal scorers. But let's look at this goal, because I think it was a very it's a goal that you see that this player is in motion. He has it going right now.
Out it away, Blessing, Vela, Musovski scores! Danny Musovski off the bench. LAFC have come from behind to take the lead.
Well, we saw LAFC give the ball away, playing out of the back, and Cincinnati scored their goal.
Yeah, what did you think when Chicho went out and obviously Danny Musevsi came in? Because obviously that is not everybody wants to see more of Chicho, obviously, but it seems like Danny obviously has a hot hand and everything like that. What were your thoughts? And then obviously after he scored the goal,
I think it was a normal substitution. They've played 3 games in this week. So Chicho obviously is going to have some tired legs. Put Moose in, who's a bit more fresh. So it's fine to have that rotation. You don't put Chicho in danger of getting an injury, especially with the physical team like Cincinnati in their back line. They were, pushing him, tackling him when Chicho was trying to get the ball. So it's a normal sub for me. But yeah, when you put Moose in, he's an enigma to me. Sometimes he misses just sitters, easy goals. But then this one was a banger who with his left foot, and he megs the defender when he shoots it. So he always, tries to get a goal or gets a goal when he gets put in. A lot of MLS teams would like to have a striker like that. We have the luxury of having him come off the bench for us, maybe fighting for that starting spot if he keeps the hot hands. But Vela starts that play, gives it to Blessing, who also came off the bench. Back to Vela and then Vela to Moose. So Vela keeps on racking assists, keeps on racking goal contribution, and Moose, the striker, does what he has to do and puts him in the back of the net.
Yeah, look, we had a comment here from Andy. He says Gio has been on the give Moose more minute wave for a few seasons now. Yes, ever since I got a chance to talk to and just hearing him in the press calls the last few seasons, one thing that I took away from Danny Musovski, he's a player that really believes in himself, but not just that, he also puts in the work. And he has two things that I really like about athletes that, it's the mentality, but also the work rate. And you're seeing, this past week, you who would have thought, he would have scored 3 goals in 2 games. But this one, he scored the game-winning goal for him. We have seen him last season. Him and Chicho had a connection for a bit, when they were bouncing around things last season. But to me, Danny Musovski, maybe not, and with LAFC, but to me, Danny Musovski is a starter in MLS. And the reason I say maybe not is because you have Chicho Arango with LAFC, right? So to me, I've seen enough of Danny Musovski. If another team needed a starting number 9, to me, I think I wholeheartedly believe Danny Musovski could be that guy. And I also think he has a skill to potentially be in the Golden Boot race. To win it, it's a whole nother thing, but he has those attributes. He has those skills to be that type of player in the MLS. And now it just gets tricky because you got Chicho Arango, you have Mahala, Brian Rodriguez, who's injured, who's the other winger? Tajuri, you have Tajuri, and then you see also Cal Jennings with the depth as well. So there's a lot of pieces. Not saying that by any means will I count him out. I just see there's so many things. I think he will have to go on a hot streak that it's almost like, yo, you gotta be able to start me or anything like that. Look, I just think up top, LAFC has really like an embarrassment of riches of who they could choose with, plug and play for Steve Sharona, which is I think is great. But I think also credit goes to Danny Musovski and the work he's been doing, because I don't know his contract or anything like that. But if this is, let's say, if he only has a season with LAFC or anything, unless he wants to stay with LAFC, to me, he's a starter in this league, a consistent starter. He's proven it time and time again. And it's always special when you see him, score these type of goals and everything like that. But we'll have to see what his future holds with the LAFC, because he is a very, very promising player to me.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's been fighting for that spot. In the press conferences, like you said, he wants to be a starter. He fights for that spot. He kind of sounded unhappy when he would be loaned out to the Lights, but he would always go and do his best there, and produce when he would be at the Lights. But yeah, I mean, he always scores as a striker. You always need to score. Yeah, I mean, if like you said, if this is his last year in the contract, he could go walking into any other team in MLS and be the starter next season, or easily fight for that spot. But yeah, I mean, it just speaks to the depth that LAFC and JT and Dolo have up front. They've built a team that has so many answers off the bench offensively. And anyone that comes in can score and be a threat. Moose is definitely a seasoned vet in MLS now, not his first year. Has adapted well and knows when to make his runs or when to hold the ball, and finds his spots. And with a player like Vela next to you, it'll definitely be easier for you to get the ball.
Yeah, look, there's a quote right here pulled up. It says, anytime you can score a game-winning goal, that's a special feeling. Obviously, it's Danny Musovski. And let's go ahead and play the clip.
You could score a game-winning goal. That's a special feeling as a player.
The area now, Vela, quickly into the middle now. Shot Musovski, goal! Vela feeds Musovski, and the Moose is loose in Cincinnati.
I think anytime you could score.
Obviously, it's just replaying. But I mean, another thing, he has a pretty cool nickname. Obviously, Musovski. He has everything to me that has the qualities, like I said. So I'm very interested to see how his career goes within the MLS or wherever he decides either move on or grow with LAFC, because I think it's going to be a really, really spectacular career. Let's talk about what you, because coming into this game, LAFC had a lot of question marks, injuries. Mamadou Fall, he was not able to play this game. I think Henry started with Jesus Murillo. What were your thoughts with all the different things going into? Obviously, it's FC Cincinnati, not the toughest of opponents, but they still got the result, which is the most important thing. What were your overall thoughts with a lot of the pieces in motion?
Well, yeah, I mean, especially when you play midweek in the U.S. Open Cup, rotation is always a question. But the squad against the U.S. Open Cup was heavily rotated. When Doniel Henry went off at halftime, I expected him to make the start against Cincy. That was, I think, Dolo's plan to keep him fresh. But he goes down with an injury, and Ibiaka gets his time to play. Both get a yellow card. Show the physicality that they bring to the table. But yeah, Mamadou suspended. Tajiri Shradi have a calf injury or a quad injury, and Brian is still out with no returnable timeline yet, I think, set. So it was just going to be who's going to play up top, or how thin is the substitutions and rotations up top going to be, because it's only Vela, Chicho, Moose, and Opoku. Thankfully, Moose goes in and scores, but the midfield stayed the same, and the back line with Escobar coming off, I think that was interesting, keeping Ryan in, especially after Escobar started in midweek. But I think they're trying to be safe with his minutes coming back. But I think the team missed Fall, regardless of winning and not being able to get broken down in the Cincy goal. But Fall just brings, I don't know, energy, charisma, confidence. He brings it all, and I think the team missed it a bit this weekend.
Yeah, and look, if we're gonna be honest, I really feel that I'm glad that the LAC got the 3 points, but also felt like they were also. I mean, part of the sports also luck, but I felt like they got lucky with the result because there was a couple times that FC Cincinnati could have scored and could have made it or won, or could have evened up the goal or even up the game. But I think they fought through enough, and they've been through enough in that game to prove that, sometimes luck is just on your side. That hey, you gotta walk away with the 3 points, because that's what you want to do, especially playing a team that does not have the similar quality that you do on paper, right? Everything kind of goes out the window once you start to play. But yeah, I think that was a very big win for LAFC, the way they were able to perform, traveled all the way to Ohio, do that. And now they come back at home this weekend. They're going to play Minnesota. So what are your thoughts going into this weekend? Because look, May is a very, very busy schedule. There's a lot of games going in. There's going to be a U.S. Open Cup as well. So against Portland, you got look. This is a schedule. I got it right here. May 1st against Minnesota. May 7th. Let me just pull it up here so the people watching they can also see. So May 7th, you got Philadelphia at home. Three home games, which is amazing. U.S. Open Cup against the Portland Timbers on May 10th. May 14th, you travel to Colorado, back at home against Austin and Columbus. So that's so far right now the schedule, how busy the schedule looks in May. And then you finish it off May 28th with San Jose. What are your thoughts when you see all those games in the schedule?
Those are 7 big games. Those are 7 competitive games. There's 7 teams that you wouldn't really write off as a easy dub, especially with the Timbers and the difficulty LAFC has had as of late playing them. Minnesota was a team that we struggled against last season. Philly is second in the Supporter Shield. Colorado, you're playing in the altitude. Austin, who's on a hot streak right now, in second. And then you have to go travel to Ohio, which is far and never easy. But it's going to be squad rotation from Dolo, what games he prioritizes, and if the team can stay healthy. Brian needs to come back, Ismael needs to come back. That's depth up top, all dangerous options that keeps teams on their toes. But if they can't come back physically already, then teams can prepare a bit easier or with less caution from who's going to be able to play up top for LAFC. Defensively, I think we're fine. Defensively, I think we have enough depth in the midfield. If Ilie or Acosta pick up maybe more yellows, that could be a interesting thing to see who comes in. But overall, it's the jam-packed schedule, and rotations are going to be key.
Yeah, no, look, I'm looking at obviously they're all important games, but obviously May 10th is a big one because you win, you move on with the U.S. Open Cup. That's a big game, and it comes 3 days right after playing Philadelphia at home. And so it's gonna be interesting because there's the good thing is they got a lot of players. You can you also have the rotation. But another game that I'm also looking is the May 18th one because May 18th, if we look at the stands currently, LAFC set in first place with 19 points. Austin FC set in 17 points with second place. That to me is going to be a big game because there's so much that could be up for grabs. I really want to see how good this Austin FC is team. How good is Andy's team? Look, I know he's going to be there May 18th. He says, "Damn right." In the chat, but yeah, I want to see how good this Austin FC team is because I think if we're looking at the cream of the crop, it has to be LAFC when it comes to MLS, when it comes to the Western Conference, and I want to see how these two match up because I've seen a little bit of Austin FC, but I really want to see if they're for real when they come to Los Angeles. What are your thoughts, JP?
Yeah, I mean, they're playing hot. They've been able to beat teams, come back also from behind, score tremendous amount of goals. And when they're at home, they're powerful. But, they're going to come to the bank, and the bank is not a place where you could just walk in and dominate this team, especially, with the 32-52.
You hear that, Andy?
So I don't know. Last time I checked, Andy's a Revs fan, so I don't know. He's switching sides because they're not doing too well. But it's definitely gonna be the fight for first place come May 18th for that western spot. And you see if Austin is for reals, because that's gonna be the biggest test for them. Maybe not for LAFC. LAFC's test is always gonna be Seattle and Carson.
Yeah, he says I might have to hang out in the stands with my Austin FC kit that day. I hope you do. I don't want to see you in the press box. I hope you sit down there, and if your team loses, good.
You gotta paint his face green. Be a super fan.
Yeah, you should paint. You should. Yeah, you should. We should do like a little friendly bet. If Austin FC loses, we'll have to think about something. Maybe people in the chat can help us out with a little friendly bet. Friendly gesture. If they win, we do something. If they lose, we don't do anything. It's only if they lose. We'll do it that way. We'll stack the cards on our side.
Of course.
But yeah, let's talk about obviously the rumblings about Carlos Vela. There's things out there that are being said that they've either come close to to finalizing a deal or they already have. To me, I've seen Carlos Vela post on his Instagram more about LAFC than he has in a long time. So that to me, he shows he's happy. He shows that he's loving LA. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's staying, and I think that's a big thing. I think that's a big thing. Whatever they want to announce it or whatever. I mean, this is Carlos Vela's Instagram. He's there with his kids. I think his oldest there. I think this was against Orange County. Yeah, if we look against Orange County, Vela, he went from being a player that either deactivated his Instagram account to now having to back up and posting about LAFC. He wasn't really posting about LAFC last year. To me, he looks happy. To me, he's coming back. To me, I don't know for how long, but I think he's definitely going to stay here for the rest of the season. Now we just have to find out the details. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been some reports, some rumblings that he's going to stay. It's good as done. I think he's going to stay as a DP until next season minimum. Maybe he drops down to a TAM by the time Griezmann is available. His friend
Griezmann.
We'll see. He might drop down just to play with Greasy, but who doesn't want a player like Vela? He's posting now. He seems happy. He is happy. He's contributing to goals. It doesn't always need to be the bangers we're accustomed to or the hat tricks. Assists are fine. Opening spaces up for these guys is fine. Especially when you have that much speed down the wings. A lot of the fans thought that the hat today was his re-signing announcement, but no, not yet. But I think Vela stays. I think it's safe to say that he has enough talent and quality to be a DP until next year. So that's not a complaint or a negative to him resigning. I mean, he's a superstar. Whether anybody doesn't like it or not, he's still the best player in this league when fit, when healthy, and currently he is.
Yeah, look, when it comes to Carlos Vela, I think anytime you have a happy Carlos Vela and he's posting that literally points all signs that him and LAFC have come to some type of agreement, or they're on the same page at least. We can say that. And yeah, and I think then you start looking for the other. You only have to look for one DP. You don't have to look for two DPs. Assuming that Carlos Vela stays. Now we have to see whether or not they'll use a DP. And I know we talked about last week that they don't necessarily have to use a P, even though they have it. But we'll see what ends up happening with that decision. Let's talk about today's signing, which I didn't think anybody expected it. Nathan Ordaz, he's an academy player. He's the fourth homegrown player in club history. What are your thoughts on this? Because I think it's spectacular. You keep getting more and more homegrowns. I think that, but you eventually want to see him get to the first team. But it's always good to sign these homegrowns. What are your thoughts on this signing?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that shocked the people in the morning. I opened Twitter and I saw that, and I was like, what's going on? And especially when it's a domestic, maybe a trade or something, or a lights player coming over. But no, it's a homegrown. I have not seen Nathan play. I cannot, comment on what he can do and can't do from what I've seen. But, when El Salvador, the U.S., and Mexico all are calling you up, for their U20 camps, it's just a positive. He has to be a good player. And I think what caught my eye is when the picture of him signing, Garces was there, and I think that's the first time that you've really seen Garces in a team post. I think this is him. Garces, said we need to give him a homegrown contract. He liked what he saw. I think Garces can try to develop him to the best of his abilities, and I think that's what Garces was brought here for. So that's the first sign of Garces's work. And, this is just showing that the academy can play and the academy can develop players. I think, they have 2 or 3 more that are going to come through that pipeline really soon. And the 2 other Salvadorians that are getting called up. So the academy is producing talent, and Nathan is the first testimony of that as of late.
Yeah, look, congrats to Nathan. I also have not seen him play, but I think it's also a big moment whenever you do sign that contract. Obviously, LAFC made a big announcement of it. You saw a couple posts and everything like that. So it's always good to see that, to get that recognition, and to see that the goal is obviously, like I said, to eventually get there to the first team. We've seen Christian Torres, but we haven't seen a central staple. Look, it takes a long time to get to that point, but we'll see. But I think whenever you have the motion going, I think it's really good. So, but with that said, I think we kind of covered everything we needed to cover this weekend. But yeah, look, everybody that hopped in the chat, thank you guys for hopping on. Thank you for hanging out with us. And also, there's been people that have been asking about the LA Soccer Hub shirts. I'm gonna make them available on Instagram. So if you guys are interested, I'll make them available on Instagram to be able to, whether you're listening to this, check on the Instagram on LA Soccer Hub. And I'll post the t-shirts so they can be available for purchase if you like to purchase one. If you don't, no problem or anything like that. So for JP, I want to thank you for hopping on. For everybody in the chat, this is Jill. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.